areas of circles. And so this should be a formula you already know. And so let's go ahead and look at it. It said the area of a circle is given by the formula A equals what? Not 2 pi. Area of a circle. Radius squared times pi. Yep. So area equals pi r squared, where A is the area and r is the radius of the circle. For those of you that were saying 2 pi r, what you were actually talking about is the circumference. And if you remember, the circumference is 2 pi r. The circumference also is pi times the diameter. Okay, so don't get those two things confused and mistaken. And this is the way I always remembered it. Area always would be square units, right? That was our answer. And so I always remembered that the squared one had to be the formula for area. So let's go ahead and look at an example. The small apple pie has a diameter of 8 inches, and the large cherry pie has a radius of 5 inches. How much larger is the large pie? So we've got to find the area of, let's start with the apple pie. So to find the area of the apple pie, so the area of the apple, what will that be? Pi times what?
4.
Pi times 4 squared. Now, why are we using 4 instead of 8? It says diameter of 8 inches. So that means it has a radius of 4. So this actually comes out to be 16 pi. I need you to just go ahead and leave that in terms of pi. Don't come up with an answer. Okay? Let's look at the area of the cherry pie. The area of the cherry pie will be pi times what? 5 squared, because that's the radius of the cherry pie. Okay, so this would be 25 pi. Now they want to know how much larger is the large pie. The thing here is you don't need to come up with decimal approximations, because I can subtract those two. So if I subtract them, I get 25 pi minus 16 pi, which is 9 pi. My label will be inches squared. And that's perfectly acceptable. Now, if you're going to do decimals, I want you to use the pi button on your calculator. So I don't want you to use 3.14. And then I want you to round to 2 decimal places.
We have a bunch of questions for
I don't know, we'll have to see. If the area of the circle at right is 256 pi meters squared, what is the circumference? Okay, so let's think. They tell me area, right? So area formula I know is pi r squared. So let's plug in what we know. What do I know? Is 256 pi. So in order to solve for the radius, I'm going to divide both sides by pi. Now see, the nice thing about doing that is that the pi's here cancel, and I've got 256. Now how do you solve for r? Square root it. Okay, how you undo a square is you take the square root. And so if you do that on your calculator, you get r to equal what? 16. So that's what the radius is. So the radius is 16, so now it asks me to find the circumference. I know the circumference from the first slide is 2 pi r. So in this case, I've got 2 times pi times 16, which is what? 32 pi. What will my label be for circumference? Meters. Once again, you don't have to multiply the pi out. So, What do we think? Pretty straightforward? Okay, this is what I need you to do for me today on page 451, 1 through 10, 12 through 14. So let's go ahead and have you open up your book so I can you can kind of look at those. Okay, there you go, 1 through 10 and 12 through 14. I think you should be good to go. This is due tomorrow. Probably looking at a quiz, maybe a worksheet tomorrow as well.